advisors, the Greater Akron Chamber, as well as the Stark Economic Development Board, I've seen firsthand the tremendous progress that Northeast Ohio is making in terms of thinking regionally across each of the major communities of Northeast Ohio. Team NEO has been a big driver behind this. Newer leaders that we have across the region in the C-suite at many of our largest employers, including universities, hospitals, banks, government and economic development agencies, have further helped to rip down parochial borders that have existed for a long time. And while we've made great progress, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, especially as we continue to move forward as a region from the COVID-19 pandemic. Our path forward will need a strong leader to bring this all together. And that is exactly the core of the mission of Team NEO. And I know that this is also at the heart of Bill Kaler's vision. I'm very supportive of the work they are doing and am committed to advance these ideals and priorities. At Key, we believe that building a better world starts here at home. We have a culture and a long history of making significant and broad investments in the region. Since our National Community Benefits Plan started in 2017, Key Bank has invested nearly $1 billion in Northeast Ohio, supporting small business and home lending in low and moderate income communities, affordable housing and community development projects, and philanthropic efforts targeted towards education, workforce development, and safe, vital neighborhoods. I want to thank everyone for being here today. We're all grateful that you are a part of Team NEO, and thank you for all you do for Northeast Ohio.
It's been an incredible year for the Northeast Ohio region. We've arrived at a generational opportunity. Ohio is earning strong positive recognition, and we are poised to continue a strong reemergence from COVID. Ohio is strategically investing over $40 billion over the next 5 years. The Northeast Ohio region is winning more projects, adding more jobs, representing almost $400 million in annual payroll, and increasing capital investment. Our pipeline is larger today than ever before, and it is growing every day. Our powerful economic development ecosystem is working together and promising new ways.
And we're not done. The impact is real when people work together.
We can make this region more competitive and more successful.
We are more intentional and deliberate about being inclusive of everyone so that everyone has an opportunity to succeed.
Not only do we have a stronger voice when we're all speaking together, but the diversity of ideas helps us form better policies to drive the region forward.
Team NEO is a great connection to the resources that exist around the region.
It makes the region a much better place.
We're working together to try to help show our young people the in-demand positions that are available and the great living that you can make here in Northeast Ohio.
We're all in to create a more vibrant region for everyone.
A more vibrant Northeast Ohio is more prosperous, more resilient, more inclusive, more competitive, more equitable, and more talented.
We're moving that needle together, which all of us will benefit from.
Please welcome Bill Kaler to the stage.
How we doing? How'd you like that video? Pretty good, huh? Thanks to the team for everything you did, our partners for being a part of it. Welcome to NEO Rising 2021. Thank you, Tim, for those kind words in support of our efforts here. I'm Bill Kaler, CEO of Team NEO. And many thanks to everyone who chose to be a part of this experience live. It's nice, different, and good. And for those who are joining us virtually as we celebrate economic development today. As we continue to contend with complications associated with COVID, it's so good to gather and celebrate the incredible work and achievements we have made together. I'd like to thank our sponsors for making this event possible. You will see them on the screen. It is critically important to highlight the work that we and our partners do together in economic development to drive the economy forward. We appreciate your support, we appreciate your engagement, and that's what makes things like this happen. Let's give them a round of applause. So tonight we get to hear from some of our region's most inspiring leaders, advocates, and champions. We have said that economic development is the ultimate team game. You're here and going to hear from some great partners to all of us. And we're also honored to have the United States Deputy Secretary of Commerce, our own Don Graves, tonight. And I'm looking forward to hear the Deputy Secretary have a conversation about the Biden administration's economic development priorities and ways that we can position ourselves to take advantage of them. I'm excited to hear his perspectives on our region from the national lens and what we can do to capitalize on those opportunities to build a more vibrant economy as we go forward. In addition, I'd like to take a second to recognize members of Team NEO's board and committee members who are with us today. Your service, your insight, engagement is incredible. Please stand and be recognized. Come on, come on, come on. We also are pleased to have U.S. Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Economic Development, Alejandra Castillo, with us today. Thank you for joining us as well. And I'm sorry I'm going to do this. I'm going to go off script. Don's father is here. Please stand up and be recognized. Thank you. So when we gathered here last year, it was virtually for Neo Horizon, we spoke about the next normal. We didn't know exactly at that time what our next normal would actually look like, but we were confident that the new opportunities and challenges that we would be seeing stemming from the pandemic could be overcome. And we believed in the power of our region's collaborative work to overcome these challenges and then to capitalize on whatever opportunities that we expected to see. Today, I think those opportunities before us within the Northeast Ohio region are greater than we could ever have imagined. In fact, at Team NEO, we believe Ohio, and especially Northeast Ohio, is in the midst of a generational opportunity that we have to capitalize. We have to play this leadership role in making the significant advancements toward a truly vibrant economy. When we talk about a vibrant economy, we talk about it as an economy that's prosperous, resilient, innovative, and competitive. And we talk about it as a regional economy that has a talented, diverse workforce and offers equitable opportunities and opportunities for all. So let me share a few reasons why we see it that way. Through the pandemic, there is no question that Ohio shined. Your efforts to keep our economy strong have been noticed by third-party sources who assess economic development effectiveness. Ohio itself finished first in site selection in the Governor's Cup in 2020 for new economic development projects. Their Prosperity Cup, in that, Ohio ranked 4th. So you say, okay, that's Ohio. But we're 40% of the Ohio economy. And we are a driving force, and we're a driving force behind those wins. We had a record year in 2020 based on incremental jobs, payroll, and capital investment associated with all those projects. And the momentum has continued through the first half of the year. You saw the data on the screen. Through mid-September, we have completed 74 projects representing more than 6,200 incremental jobs, almost $400 million of new payroll, and close to $1.5 billion of capital investment here in Northeast Ohio. So for context, we typically, at any one time, will have about 100 projects, maybe 125 in our pipeline. Today, the opportunities are more promising. We are staring at about 150 projects in our pipeline. So that's momentum. And this momentum, combined with a myriad of opportunities presented by our site work, various talent initiatives, our other strategic initiatives that we're all doing across the region, as well as new money that is available through the federal stimulus, such as ARP funding, the EDA's Build Back Better grant opportunity, and then the potential infrastructure funding that is being talked about, and I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit here in a few minutes. The Northeast Ohio region is positioned for significant, sustained progress, and we need to do what we need to do to lead the state, to make sure the state also is seen as that leading, that beacon, because of our integrated reliance on the state. So the opportunity before us also is in itself an achievement, in my view, because we did it together. Together, we have built a great foundation to capitalize on this opportunity. Northeast Ohio has a ton of distinct advantages: a diverse industry base, diverse communities, strong workforce, nationally recognized infrastructure and institutions, a business community focused on building the right kind of wraparound services and support that our communities need. We have locational advantages, affordability, and the amazing quality of life that we all benefit from right here in our hometown, in our home region, in our home community. These advantages are why great companies choose to double down on their investment here. They are reasons why talented, passionate young people, old people, middle-aged people, people like me, they're also why they've established their presence here, continue to come back. They leave, they come back. Maybe they don't leave, but they're here. And they're also why established iconic brands and startup companies alike have chosen to do it here. We've got to do more of that. We've got to create an environment where we can get more people thinking about it the same way. And it's with this generational opportunity before us that we are positioned to create substantive change on a scale that few local or regional leaders, maybe all of us here, never really get the chance to attempt, except we have a chance to do it today, let alone achieve. So it's incumbent on all of us to meet that moment. And in capitalizing on this, we can look forward to many impactful efforts and initiatives that are already underway with collaborative teams who are thinking about this the same way. We have communities throughout Northeast Ohio who are committed to and demonstrating the value of coordinated community strategies relating to workforce and infrastructure issues. Many people here are familiar with Strengthening Stark, Elevate Greater Akron, or the Cleveland Innovation Project. These are only a few examples. There are many more throughout the region that are working to align and improve our competitiveness and help drive our regional economy forward toward vibrancy, not simply growth, towards vibrancy. There are many others, and we appreciate the opportunity to assist communities in these efforts. That's what we do at Team NEO, and we're going to keep going, and we're asking you to do the same. We need to take advantage of this opportunity. It's a unique opportunity. We need to accelerate our efforts to realize the impact from the good work we're all doing, the good work we're all doing together as a coalition of partners. I'm confident that we can meet the moment, and we are already starting to do it. I'm confident that we can meet the moment because we're doing it together and become a more talented, equitable, competitive, innovative, resilient, prosperous region that is more vibrant and as vibrant as it can be. So, thanks again for what you have all done and all you will do to keep Northeast Ohio as a region moving forward. It has truly been my privilege to be a part of this, and I hope you all feel the same. Let's take a moment to congratulate ourselves for all we have done to get right here, right now. Thank you. So at this time, it's my pleasure to turn the program over to our board chair, Team NEO, Jody Berg, and to JP Nasir, who is the CEO of Jobs Ohio. They were not able to join us in person today, but they felt it was important to send us a message. So let's roll the tape.
Thank you, Bill, and good evening, everyone. Although I am not with you in person, I am there in spirit. I am honored to be a part of tonight's celebration. We have so much to celebrate. As Bill mentioned, I'm the president and CEO of Vitamix, and we are thrilled to have our headquarters and manufacturing plants that ship product out to over 130 countries located in this region. And as we celebrate our 100th anniversary, we have a few facts that we're pretty proud to share. First, 72% of our components are sourced with the country of origin of the United States, and 55% of that spend is sourced from Ohio, with 48% being sourced from right here in Cleveland. 10 of our top 20 suppliers are also based here in Cleveland. But more importantly for this event, I'm the chairwoman of the Team NEO board, and it is an honor to be associated with this organization and the amazing people that make up the greater regional table that they've created. So tonight, we celebrate and thank you. Thank you for all you have done to generate and retain jobs and attract new investment to our region. It's working. There are more jobs in the pipeline at this point than ever in our region's history, and the investment is unprecedented. So congratulations. This evening, we also celebrate our 2021 Regional Economic Development Champions. There are so many people that deserve to be recognized, but tonight, we're honoring 3 undeniable rock stars. Their work is an example of what happens when a broad regional economic perspective is coupled with creative thinking to address the gaps between what our economy is and what it can be. And their efforts are lifting up our region for everyone and making our efforts exponentially more impactful. To our 3 2021 champions and all the businesses, organizations, and individuals here tonight, thank you. Thank you for your deep and passionate investment in accelerating growth for this region. At this time, I am delighted to introduce to you JP Nasir, President and Chief Executive Officer of Jobs Ohio. JP has extensive experience as a business leader and an economic development practitioner. More importantly, JP has an incredible passion for promoting Ohio as the best location for new and expanding businesses. JP?
Thank you, Jody, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm JP Nasir, the President and CEO of Jobs Ohio, the state's privatized economic development corporation. And I want to thank Team NEO for the invitation to speak here today, and thank all of you for the outstanding work you do to keep Northeast Ohio rising. Earlier, Bill Kaler and Jody Berg spoke about the generational opportunity facing Northeast Ohio, and I'd like to focus on how best to seize that opportunity. Companies and their people are reprioritizing and rethinking fundamental elements of their business strategies. Some may call it a COVID recalibration. Factors like access to diverse industries, low cost of doing business, pro-business policies, a talented and inclusive workforce, and attractive and affordable livability have come into focus more than ever before. Advantage Ohio. But economic development is a crowded and competitive field, and Ohio is competing fiercely with several states. And we must learn how to compete more effectively to win the projects that are in our pipeline. Which brings us to the question of how. Bill has already addressed the critical need for workforce and upskilling alignment. And the winning formula includes 2 additional core elements: innovation and inclusion. With 14 top-ranked hospital systems, renowned universities, federal research institutes, and leading companies from 9 major industrial sectors, Ohio's opportunity to lead innovation has never been greater. And together with leadership from the administration at the state of Ohio and healthcare and university partners, like the Cleveland Clinic, Case Western Reserve, Cleveland State, Metro Health, and university hospitals. Together, we've launched one of the most comprehensive economic development initiatives in the nation. The public and private collaboration happening here in Cleveland is the key to driving innovation that will result in 20,000 new jobs, more than 10,000 new STEM graduates, and $3 billion in economic impact in Northeast Ohio alone. Innovation in Ohio's big metro areas also provides opportunity for inclusive economic development across the state. As innovations continue to happen, those companies are investing in areas and the talent who can build them. The Jobs Ohio Inclusion Strategy has two programs. First, providing support to underrepresented population groups, and second, to underrepresented geographies and distressed areas that need an extra boost so that Ohio and they can realize their economic potential. Fortunately, at Jobs Ohio and our partner, Team NEO, innovation and inclusion is part of how we've always looked at economic development. Jobs Ohio has a team with seasoned private sector professionals, and we work outside, not outside, but alongside state government. And because we're a nonprofit corporation with a stable source of funding, not utilizing current sources of revenue, we have the resources to make the deals that benefit Ohio. There's really nothing like Jobs Ohio anywhere else in the country. And when you combine that with outstanding leadership from the DeWine Husted administration and fantastic and effective partnership with Team NEO and many of you that are here today, we have an opportunity to win. Our approach has earned Ohio a number of high rankings for our business climate and for our effectiveness. It's a winning formula, and I look forward to partnering with Team NEO to maximize the benefits in Northeast Ohio and across the great state of Ohio. Now back to you, Bill. Thank you.
So, what do you think? How about a round of applause for those guys, right? Jody and JP, our board, the Jobs Ohio team have been great partners, and we are very, very grateful for all the support. At this time, I'd like to welcome Robert Shenton, who's the partner at Plant Moran, to introduce our featured speaker, United States Deputy Secretary of Commerce, Don Graves. Plant Moran has been a great partner to economic development across the entire state. And I appreciate all Robert and you and your team are doing to help us here in Northeast Ohio. Please.
Thank you, Bill, and certainly I have enjoyed working with the Team NEO team over the last 24 months, 18 of which have been in the pandemic environment, and it is so nice to see everybody here and nice to see so many smiles right now in the room. This morning started with an event at the Westin. There were 200 women there, and it was a Smart Business, Smart Women event, and it was a fabulous panel, and this is like phase 3 of today. So we need a little bit more energy in the room, so that word vibrancy, Bill, is going to be important here. But what we're really proud to support is Team NEO and that mission towards business growth, innovation, talent development, and that vibrant regional economy. Our Plant Moran team of 80 professionals that are here in Northeast Ohio and 3,500 throughout the United States has really worked closely with Jobs Ohio on a number of projects related to tax issues, accounting, financial statement matters, and business consulting engagements. And our aim in these engagements is to provide independent research and data that helps Team NEO be successful in their economic development efforts and growth and opportunities for all of us here in Northeast Ohio. And to add to that belief of growing, our Plant Moran team here is committed to doubling the size of our office and our market here in terms of our market share over the next 5 years. And as Bill mentioned, I truly believe we have a generational opportunity in terms of what we build here together. So now, it's my privilege to introduce our special guest, featured speaker, and a friend to many of us here in Cleveland and Northeast Ohio. Don Graves is the 19th Deputy Secretary of Commerce. His resume is significant as he was the counselor to President Joe Biden during the 2020 presidential campaign. Prior to that, Don served as the Executive Vice President and Head of Corporate Responsibility and Community Relations at Key Bank. He was previously appointed by President Barack Obama as Executive Director of the President's Council on Jobs and Competitiveness, and Graves has also served as Deputy Assistant Secretary for Small Business, Community Development, and Housing Policy at the U.S. Department of Treasury, as well as being the U.S. Federal Representative at the G7 Task Force on Social Impact Investment. Now, in addition to that, Don has served on a number of boards, which include the Metro Health Foundation, the FDIC's Advisory Committee on Economic Inclusion, the Board of Trustees of the Community Reinvestment Fund, Policy Advisor Board of the Biden Institute at the University of Delaware, among many other board positions. He is a fellow of the National Association of Public Administration and holds a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and History from Williams College, along with a JD from the Georgetown University Law Center. So please give a very warm welcome to our friend, U.S. Deputy Secretary of Commerce, Don Graves, to come up for our presentation.
So, Don, if we could, let's start at the highest level. You heard the term generational opportunity. I have a sense from hearing you at different parts of today that you may use different words as you see the things you're doing with the Biden administration and in your present role. But share with us how you think about this opportunity and how that relates to the administration's agenda as you move things forward, and then we'll dig deep in some aspects of that, please.
Well, Bill, thanks for this. Thank you for the kind introduction. I apologize. I have been, the last several days, I feel like it's nonstop talking, so my voice is a little bit rough. I see a lot of really great friends, so I appreciate that you're not going to throw tomatoes or whatever the case may be tonight. Bill, it's a great question. The country is, I think, and I know the President thinks this, is at a turning point where really it's an inflection point for the country. We can accept this once in a generation opportunity to drive economic growth in a different direction, to capture the energy that you see going on here in Northeast Ohio and position us for long-term economic growth now, or we can do what I think many of us who are from Cleveland have seen over many decades, a continued slow decline of the country and certainly the region in some ways. We believe that now is an opportunity, as the President says, to build back better. I know that you've heard that term probably 1,000 times. It may be a little bit overused, but the better is the key part of this, and that's really what I think you all are doing here at Team NEO and NEO Rising. I love the words that you had in the video earlier about resiliency and what you talk about with innovation. We are poised right now to do some really great things, and I've been looking at the economy a lot lately, and looking at our positioning relative to the rest of the world. Yes, there's some supply chain constraints. There's some issues, obviously, with the pandemic, but we are still the world's leader. We're the #1 economy. The innovative sector, the development of technology, the entrepreneurship here outpaces the rest of the world. It's unquestionable that that's the case. So I think that the conditions where the headwinds are starting to go away. We're going to have some tailwinds because of what happened with the American Rescue Plan. We're going to get the infrastructure bill passed in the next few days or weeks. We're going to get that passed. We're going to get some version of the reconciliation bill passed. So we will have some tailwinds. Energy prices will come down. I know there's concerns about inflationary pressures. Those will moderate sometime early next year. So we will have some tailwinds, and we're going to be better positioned than the rest of the world. So beginning to get at your question, but I don't want to use up all the time with my filibustering.
Well, I won't let you do that. Let's pick up on supply chain.
Yeah.
Because we think it's a great opportunity, and yet it's a hot topic. You heard about that in a number of places today. How are you thinking about supply chains as an opportunity over the long term, I would say, and then in the short term, the issues in the system and that you see? How are we dealing with those?
Well, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about things that we all see on a daily basis. When no one, well, no, I'm not going to say. Lots of people predicted that there was going to be something like what we're dealing with right now in terms of the pandemic. No one knew when it was going to happen, but we knew that it was going to happen. The challenge that we have, all of you know, just in time means that anytime there's a hiccup in the system, we're going to have real problems. That's been compounded by a lot of different factors. The president has, in some of his very first actions, were to issue an executive order on supply chains that has done a few different things. One, it's required us, the Commerce Department, and some of our other agencies to develop 100-day reports. So go out and look at the challenges to our supply chain, get the report back to him in 100 days. We focused on semiconductors, we focused on batteries, we're looking at energy, we're looking at our other parts of our infrastructure, our communications and information technology, a range of different areas where there's some supply chain constraints. What we're realizing is that there's some things that the government can do to get at those supply chain challenges. Part of that is research and monitoring. That's one of the things that if we can give you business leaders more advanced warning, more information about where we see potential problems, it'll allow you to make changes to your supply chain. The second thing is investment, financing. We are very focused on ways that we can get support to businesses so that you can bring your supply chains closer to your production and closer, obviously, eventually to your consumer. Part of that is bringing more supply chains back to the United States. We're very focused on trying to do what we can. You've probably seen our work on semiconductors to bring more of the production here, but building the broader ecosystem. This is where Team NEO and a lot of you come into play. We can't do that with a strong ecosystem around our supply chain, and I'm so glad that my colleagues are here. Alejandra Castillo, who is basically runs economic development for the federal government. We just put out a $3 billion program, six different programs under that $3 billion that are going to seed the ecosystems in regions around the country like this. We also have my other colleagues, Ellen Hines, who's the Ohio Director for EDA. If you don't know Ellen, you should get to know Ellen because she's really important for getting dollars to this region. Carmen West, who's here from the Minority Business Development Agency, another part of the Commerce Department, who's supporting minority business in this region. The reason I raise them is that we're very focused on supporting the work that you're doing around supply chains and around resiliency. We have resources, we have information, but you all are the business leaders, so we have to know from you how to deploy those resources in a way that supports you and the work that you're trying to do. So I'm sort of dancing around your question a little bit, but.
I didn't do that. There we go. What my takeaway is in all that, there are two opportunities. One, there's an opportunity based on how we leverage the resources that are becoming available and showing you the different ways that we can bring an impact at the local level. But the other thing is that in the industries we're in, EV, smart materials and polymers, maybe not deep in semiconductors, but there's certainly a lot of connective components. Those kinds of things are things that we do here, we use here, and we got to think about being smart about how we leverage that technology here in the industries that we're in and we know well, not only to strengthen the supply chain, but actually transform our economy.
You know, that you are exactly right. What we're trying to do is position the federal government to provide you with the resources, especially in those areas of innovation. So you talk about EVs, we think about advanced manufacturing, we think about all the things that this region is known for. We're basically building the suite of, the buffet of programs and resources that I think will allow you to succeed. And through the support of programs like EDA is putting out, giving you the resources to build the foundation. So the work that you do around regional collaboration will allow for specific efforts to build on that foundation.
So then that leads us into a broader discussion potentially about innovation. We have industries that are changing. We have industries that have opportunity to be stronger. We have a lot of startup activity. Arguably, we need more of it, but we still have an opportunity in a number of industries in healthcare and IT and the like. How is the administration and you and your team, how are you thinking about the kinds of catalysts that you can bring to the table to essentially ignite the power of what we have here?
So let me do one thing quickly, and I'll come back to your question. Most people don't know what the Commerce Department does. A lot of people think it's the business department. It's the agency that focuses on economic growth and vitality. Yes, that is part of what we do. But we have 11 different bureaus that get at what you're talking about. I'm only going to cover a little bit of that. So you've heard about the Economic Development Agency and the Minority Business Development, Economic Development Administration, Minority Business Development Agency. We also oversee NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which includes the National Weather Service. Why do I bring that up? Because data that the National Weather Service provides, for instance, is critically important for folks that are making decisions and innovating. I think about what we're doing, especially with offshore wind development. NOAA is critical to that. But more importantly to innovation is the National Institutes of Standards and Technology. That's another part of the Commerce Department. NIST oversees, in addition to developing all of the standards that you all likely use and making sure that other folks around the globe are following our standards rather than their own standards. It runs the manufacturing institutes, the manufacturing extension partnerships, which drive manufacturing around this country. So we have resources there. We have the Patent and Trademark Office. Well, what does Patent and Trademark Office have to do with innovation? Well, this is something that the President and I have spent hours and hours and hours talking about. He fundamentally believes that the reason the United States has been the leader and will continue to be the leader is, yes, we have a workforce that's unparalleled. We have venture capital and capital markets that work like no other. But most importantly, we have the rule of law in ways that no other country in the world has. And the rule of law includes protection of intellectual property. That is absolutely critical in the support of the development of the innovations, the good ideas that are coming out of CASE, that are coming out of Cleveland State, that are coming out of many of the companies that are here. So all of those things are aligned to support innovation, and then you begin to get to things that we're doing with the infrastructure bill and the reconciliation package. One of the things we're calling for is a $10 billion program to support regional tech hubs. That funding would go directly to support the types of things that I know, Bill, that you all are talking about here. It would drive innovation. It would attract more of the entrepreneurs and other businesses to those innovative tech hubs. And you can see that, I mean, I was telling this to some folks yesterday and then again today. This is me taking off my deputy secretary hat and putting on my Clevelander hat. There's no better place in the world than this region. With everything that I see, we're poised to do a lot. So the funding that we're putting together that's aligned against the types of things that you're doing here at Team NEO and that we're doing in the region, I think I can see a corridor from Pittsburgh through Youngstown, Northeast Ohio in general, all the way up to through Toledo and into Detroit. If you think about that corridor, and I know that folks are talking about a Hyperloop maybe over to Chicago, but I think that corridor can outperform any other corridor, certainly in the country, in many innovative technologies, and I think the rest of the world.
So one of my takeaways on that is that you were saying at the national level, we see the pockets of excellence that are available throughout the entire country. Our takeaway has to be, let's recognize the ones we have that are related to that. America Makes, Magnet, Ohio Aerospace Institute, NASA, our higher ed institutions, all those institutions that have these unique capabilities that we need to figure out how to commercialize better, how to implement in the companies that we're already in. And it's up to us to figure out how to connect those dots, but you're going to find different ways to support it and catalyze it.
That is exactly right. And part of what Alejandra and I did when we came in, this is the very first thing that I said when we were talking about the EDA $3 billion program, was to say, we need to see regional collaboration. We need to make sure that these dollars aren't going out to, and I'm just going to pick on a city because I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but dollars shouldn't just go to Lakewood, or they shouldn't just go to Independence or to East Cleveland. As needy as any of those cities are, there should be regional collaboration so that you can drive innovation. And for too long, I've seen this in this community, but also in other communities across the country. You end up having these communities that are right next to each other, fighting over a limited pool of resources, and sort of trying to steal jobs from the neighboring community. That can't be the way forward. We don't have enough money in this country, and frankly, the Chinese are spending essentially trillions of dollars doing the same thing. They're going to just keep printing money, basically, because they don't have to follow the same rules that we do. So we have to be much smarter about how we use our resources, and that's why regional collaboration has to be a part of it. Northeast Ohio has a unique opportunity here. It's not just the business community driving things, which thankfully the business community is all aligned, along with our regional organizations like Team NEO. We have a political opportunity. The federal government, at least the executive branch, is ready to support everything that you're trying to do. Local leadership is going through some changes right now, certainly in the city of Cleveland. So there's an opportunity there to align local leadership, federal, state, the state clearly, as you heard, is also here, federal leadership alongside the work that you're doing in the private sector and with the regional economic development organizations.
So thank you. Let's pivot a little bit. We can't be effective in doing exactly what you're challenging us to do around innovation and technology if we don't have the right talent to implement it, leverage it, those kinds of things. Share with us, if you will, some of the priorities that you have, and help us, understand, how we should be thinking about taking the advantage of those opportunities you see.
This is the number one issue that I hear from CEOs, from executives, from small business owners around the country: workforce. Where is the workforce? What are you doing about the workforce? Help us, because we're dying. We don't have the workforce. At the same time, when I go to communities, I talk to working folks, and they say, we can't get these jobs. What do we do? How do we prepare ourselves for the jobs that are there? So clearly there's a mismatch that's going on around the country. We are going to I should say this first, the federal government is going to do what we need to do to make sure that the rules of the road around the world are adhered to, so that our workers are not put, and especially our companies are not put in a place where it's not competitive relative to the rest of the world. We have to make sure that other countries are held to the same standards that our folks are, so that we don't have that imbalance. So setting that aside for a moment, we know that workforce training is a real issue. That's why the Secretary and I have decided that Commerce is going to, for the first time ever, is going to be the workforce agency. I know a lot of people think that it's the Department of Education or the Department of Labor, but we know better, I think, than they do what businesses need, because we talk to you all on a daily basis. So making sure that we're giving, that we're training folks for the jobs that are here, but more importantly for the jobs that are coming, is essential. And so we've included an ask in the reconciliation bill for $8 billion in sector-based workforce development programs that are specifically designed by you, by the companies, the businesses, not by us, not by the state, not by local communities. As much as I love government, we need to facilitate the things that you need, so that these sector-based programs will be tailor-made to get you the workforce that you need. The other thing that we're doing is I think there's a recognition that especially in a city, in a region like this, I think about the city of Cleveland, where you have something like 39–40% of the population is living in poverty. Clearly, there is a real challenge here, and we have to find ways to create a more inclusive and equitable in the future. So the president has created he signed several different executive orders around equity, around supporting the workforce of the future. We're very focused on gender equity. We know that particularly in more innovative sectors, that women, but especially Black and brown women, are not represented the way that they should. So a lot of what we're focused on right now is building pathways into the careers that center around technology for people that have historically been excluded.
So that relates then to STEM, some maybe higher wage, deemed more skilled jobs. Maybe pivoting slightly, looking at infrastructure. I learned today, I think the term was hard initiatives or soft initiatives or something like that. When I first heard about the plan to include some of these soft initiatives in an infrastructure bill, I said, what? I mean, that didn't make sense to me until I started to understand systemic barriers and some of the things related to that, where the soft initiatives are focused on. If you elaborate on that.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right, Bill. There's hard infrastructure. Everyone knows hard infrastructure. Hopefully we're going to get the $1+ trillion infrastructure package passed, which includes supporting roads and bridges and highways, our ports. We know that Ohio has a real need for infrastructure and hard infrastructure investment to facilitate the flow of goods around the globe. But there's public transit is also included in that, which is a huge factor of getting workers to the jobs that are available, particularly in this region. But it's the soft infrastructure. So part of this broader reconciliation package includes things like childcare. We know that there are millions of Americans right now who can't work. They literally can't find ways to get to work because they have a young child or they have an elderly relative at home. And if that's the thing that's holding back our economy, then we need to find ways to provide that care so that the hardworking Americans who are actually already trained and ready to take the jobs, that they can get into those jobs. The other piece of this is the support for childcare actually creates new jobs, because a lot of the people who would be providing childcare, they'll be small business owners. They're particularly women of color around the country. So it's going to open up the opportunities for new jobs, and it's going to unleash a slew of folks to take the jobs that I know are open right now. So we have to have that mix of both the hard and soft infrastructure.
So I'm getting the hook from my colleague Steve. Last question. You've had the privilege of doing a lot of really interesting things, working with a lot of interesting people. As we think about this, and you think about the leadership opportunities we have individually and collectively, what advice would you give us based on the one or two things as a leader that you have found impactful for you in driving the outcomes you've been trying to get to, and how can we take that away from the group?
That is a fantastic question. Most importantly, the thing that we have to remember, the work that we do, whether it's running a company, small, large or small, whether it's being a regional leader, a local leader, a national political hack, at the end of the day, it's about individuals. It's about the people in the communities that we serve. And if we don't take the time to understand what individuals need, then why are we doing what we're doing? But we also need to, and if you'll indulge me for one moment, this came home. This hit home when I was serving President Obama. I had the good fortune of flying on Air Force One a few times, and one of those trips, actually the first time I ever flew on Air Force One, was a trip to Cleveland, of all places. And so I'm sitting on Air Force One, and I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm a big shot now, I'm on Air Force One, and I'm sitting up here near the president, and we're flying over Northeast Ohio, and I look down, and I see the neighborhood in which I grew up. And it sort of hit me that the kids who were in that neighborhood that I grew up with, they'd see this plane up above, and they might think, oh, look at that, that's a plane of the President of the United States. But for the most part, most of those kids wouldn't think, oh, that's something that I want to do some point, fly and be part of the President's team. Or, you look up at some of the big towers downtown, these kids see them from a distance, and they don't think, oh, I can be the CEO of that. I can start a business. And that's a real problem if we lose the connection between the hopes and dreams that kids have when they're young and that eventual life of dignity. We're not providing them with the opportunity. So we have to remember individuals. The second thing is we get too provincial in the things that we do. And I understand it is really hard to not focus on the things that are right in front of you, because if you're running a small business or you're running a big company, you either have mouths to feed of your employees and you're worried about payroll, or you have these shareholders that are beating you up, and if you don't have that quarterly profit, then you're going to have a real problem. We have to get out of that mindset, and that's why maybe I'm giving you a good send-off here, but that's why why folks need to engage with organizations like Team NEO and think about our collective opportunity, the things that we can do together to make lives a little bit better for the folks that live in our communities, and to power the next generation and the generation after that. So just please remember the individuals and get out of your own little silos. It's hard, and think about ways that you can work cooperatively as opposed to competitively.
Awesome. I can assure you I did not plant that. Hey, thank you for being here. Thank you for your service, your leadership, and most of all, there are a ton of things that many people probably asked you to do today, but you were here. Don't forget the home team. Thanks for doing it.
Bill, thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
That. Okay, so the next part of our program, we are going to recognize our 2021 Team NEO Regional Economic Development Champions. These are 3 individuals whose work is, in our view, a powerful example of what is possible through really strong, focused leadership influence, partnering, engagement, and leveraging the full strength of a network of partners in collaboration. They're people who believe in the power of the collective, in particular leveraging economic development organizations, philanthropy, public sector, private sector, all the resources that we can bring to bear. Our regional economic development champions are strong advocates for Northeast Ohio, the entire region. Each has contributed in his or her own way to bring economic growth and prosperity to our region. And we are very grateful for the opportunity to highlight them today and thank them for all that they do. We're going to begin with Kim Riley, the president of Highland, Team NEO's 2021 Regional Economic Development Champion within the business leader category. Her story is going to be presented by Al Mistison, a member of our board and the CFO of Sherwin-Williams.
Good evening. This is Al Mistison, CFO of the Sherwin-Williams Company, and it is my pleasure to introduce this year's Regional Economic Development Champion, Kim Riley. Kim joined Highland in 2011 with over 35 years in the insurance industry. Her passion for leading evolved during her 20-plus years on the insurance carrier side and 15 years in property and casualty and employee benefits brokerage. In her role as president, she is responsible for the overall leadership, direction, growth, and success of the office. A master networker, Kim focuses on leveraging the strengths of her teams by building on their talents, expertise, and industry specialization. She not only helps see the opportunities that exist for others, but also fully commits herself to helping achieve those opportunities, traits that come through in the work she does to support regional economic development. As a long-term client of Highland, I have seen firsthand the excellent work Kim does. Kim is the type of leader with whom active engagement in the community comes naturally. She is chairwoman of the Northeast Ohio American Red Cross Board, vice chair of Team NEO, an active member of the Northeast Ohio Advisory Board for the Cleveland Federal Reserve Bank, Destination Cleveland, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and iHeartRadio. I do not know how she does it all. Kim finds ways to integrate her community engagement work into strategies at Highland, making her an effective board member and community leader. She once said, "Being part of the community fills a passion for me. I love engaging in the community, and I love being part of something bigger." Some of my most enjoyable community involvement moments have been the hands-on stuff. I think being involved in the community really allows me to understand the challenges of our clients and prospects from a different perspective, a more holistic view. Not just insurance needs. Being around our leaders and hearing about their challenges and successes also helps me in my journey to be a better leader. For Kim Riley's committed leadership, engagement, and belief in Northeast Ohio, we recognize her as the 2021 Regional Economic Development Champion. Congratulations, Kim.
I believe that I need to give back. And the way I do that is by getting involved in the community through a lot of different nonprofits, but also through Team NEO. I've been here in Cleveland for 5 years, and I am so humbled that Team NEO would recognize me with this award. I have so many people to thank. Bill Kaler is one, but one especially is Brad Whitehead, who is also an honoree today. He's the one that told me how to get involved in economic development here in Cleveland, and that's where I really wanted to get involved and make a difference. And I feel like with Team NEO, I've been able to do that. Every business leader needs to be an ambassador for our region. We need to be talking about Northeast Ohio and why it's so great and why they need to consider coming here. It's really important for business leaders to have communities that are growing. I see great hope. I see that we have a collaborative environment with all of our chambers and Team NEO. It is a fabulous time for our city and our region, and it's only going to grow our population base and make it better for all the employees that are here.
Kim. So as Kim comes up, let me make a personal observation. Whoa. Sorry, I didn't do that. Let me make a couple of personal observations, if I may, Kim. I have found that you bring, in addition to all those other things we just heard about, a unique combination of optimism, of candor, objectivity, candor's a gift, and critical thinking to our work here at Team NEO. I know that because I've experienced it many times. You consistently have leveraged your work on behalf of the community to make it work and bring value to our work. So thank you very much for that, and I am so proud that we were able to do this. Thank you. Really good. Got it? Yeah, come here. We good? Cool, thanks. All right. So I must admit, we start here with a little trepidation because I didn't see Brad Whitehead walk in here. Perfect. So Brad, we recognize Brad, the past president and senior advisor for special projects at the Fund for Our Economic Future. Brad is our economic development leader champion. John Higgins, who's the area vice president of operations for Spectrum, will tell us about Brad's many accomplishments.
Good evening. I am John Higgins, Area Vice President of Operations for Spectrum in North Ohio. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce 2021 Economic Development Regional Champion, Mr. Brad Whitehead. Brad helped establish the Fund for Our Economic Future in 2004, then served as its president for 16 years before moving to a senior advisor role last year. The Fund is an alliance made up of more than 40 organizations and individuals dedicated to advancing economic growth and equitable access to opportunity through collective impact for the people of Northeast Ohio. The Fund promotes and supports integrated strategies to improve job creation, job preparation, and job access through research and awareness building, collaboration building in local communities, and grant making. The Fund, under Brad's leadership, was one of the early adopters of the notion that for the region to be successful, we needed to strengthen and leverage all of the communities that comprise Northeast Ohio: Akron, Canton, Cleveland, and Youngstown. Brad was part of the very first Team NEO Board of Directors, remaining until 2020, when he stepped aside to, as he put it, lead with example, allowing Bethia Burke to ascend to lead the fund going forward. Throughout his tenure at the fund, Brad challenged regional leaders to engage more, collaborate more, and evolve their priorities so that more of Northeast Ohio's underrepresented communities could have greater access to opportunities emerging from our work. The Two Tomorrows report provided the candid, much-needed assessment of the region that reminded us that being average or being extraordinary is our choice. By creating more jobs, preparing people to take on those jobs, and giving them better access to jobs, we can achieve a better tomorrow. More recently, Brad is leading an effort with Team NEO and others to expand how decision makers think about location competitiveness. As companies think differently about priorities, factors such as talent, equity, and sustainability will play a greater role in their location investments. And Northeast Ohio has an opportunity to get out in front. For his commitment to equitable growth and opportunity in Northeast Ohio, we recognize Brad Whitehead as Regional Economic Development Champion. Thank you, Brad.
Economic development was my second career. I spent the first 20 years of my career in business, and then kind of fell into economic development, and not only fell into it, fell in love with it. It felt like important work, and the fact that I was doing it for my own community made it really special. I've been with Team NEO since before the beginning, and having watched that organization grow and mature to the point that it is playing the role that it is today as a galvanizing force in the community, and I'm just really proud to have been a part of it, and I'm proud that Team NEO recognizes that. Team NEO plays a huge role in helping all the pieces come together. And when you have an economy that's reinventing itself all the time and it's pulling everybody in, good things can happen. What keeps me positive is that there's a new generation of leaders coming up. There are so many great people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s that are ready to lead in this community. And I've had my shot. It's time for others to have their shot. That just fills me with, all kinds of hope, pride, anticipation. That's going to be the trigger that really gets us to where we need to go as a community.
So Brad, a couple of personal observations, if I may. What I have really enjoyed about working and a great thought partner, and one who has, in my case, 6 years ago, I feel like put his figurative arm around me, and sometimes literally, and said, we can go do this. And I'm very grateful for that, so thank you. Don't forget that. Thank you. Here we go. So finally, we have an opportunity to recognize Lee Friedman, who's the Chief Executive Officer for College Now of Greater Cleveland. And to introduce her is our friend and her board chair, Mark Ross.
Good evening. I'm Mark Ross, the current board chair for College Now Greater Cleveland, and I am thrilled to be able to introduce Lee Friedman as a recipient of Team NEO's 2021 NEO Rising Award for Regional Economic Development. Before doing so, I wanted to congratulate co-winners Brad Whitehead and Kim Riley, two deserving leaders who I have had the opportunity to work with in the community. And a special thanks to Bill Kaler and the Team NEO team for making 3 fabulous choices to receive the awards this evening. And now a little background on my friend Lee Friedman, one of the first people I met when I returned to Cleveland in 2015. From that very first meeting, I knew that Lee was one of the most connected, respected, and knowledgeable people I would meet in Northeast Ohio. And I've learned so much from her about how to get things done and how to build trusting relationships here as she has consistently done. Lee joined College Now in June 2010 following a number of significant Cleveland area nonprofit leadership roles at the Cleveland Leadership Center, the Downtown Cleveland Partnership, now the Downtown Cleveland Alliance, and Clean Land Ohio, now Land Studio. At the time she took over College Now, it was struggling both financially and strategically, but she took the role anyway, having the confidence she could turn it around given her leadership skills and passion for education. Under her leadership, College Now is advancing regional competitiveness and prosperity through its commitment to addressing the region's talent gap by counseling students and educating them on career pathways that will lead to in-demand jobs in our region. Lee also leveraged her relationships to help convene the key players working to develop the consensus required to deliver the Say Yes to Education opportunity for our CMSD students, which will ultimately be an engine for economic development for decades to come. College Now has also been a consistent partner to Team NEO for a number of years in the joint development of a clearinghouse of training and education programs known as the Managing Advancement Programs Database, or MAPS, that helps students and adults find the best program leading to a good job. College Now reaches over 29,000 students and adult learners a year, providing college access advising, financial aid, counseling, and scholarship and retention services, as well as services to adults to either help them re-enroll to complete their education or to pursue certificates or other avenues to successful post-secondary careers. Obviously, many of these students are from low-income families and are first-generation college students. As a numbers guy, I also think it's worthy to note that College Now is a profitable, greater than $25 million budget organization today versus the $5 million budget loss-making organization Lee took on in 2010. I couldn't be more proud of the opportunity to work with and learn from Lee and to celebrate her success here tonight. For her commitment to talent, equity, and outcomes for Northeast Ohio, please join me in recognizing Lee Friedman as a 2021 Regional Economic Development Champion.
College Now is the oldest and probably largest in the country. We work with both traditional students and we work with adults to help them find their path to a better long-term future for themselves through post-secondary, whether it's a welding certificate or a PhD. I have always spent my career in sort of community, large-scale efforts that provide a great future for originally my children, now my grandchildren. I want to thank Team NEO, Bill Kaler and his entire staff and his board. The fact that we're being recognized for really the power this has to change the economic trajectory of our community is really what's so gratifying. I largely define my success on the productivity, the enthusiasm, and the commitment of our team. For College Now, what I see is obviously continued growth and impact. We have to continue to be intentional about an inclusive regional economy, and you get the business community engaged. And to that end, I think we will have a very thriving future.
Where's Lee? Come on up, Lee. There we go. So again, some personal observations. I have known Lee since about 2010, about the same time I think Mark got to know her. And like Mark, I've appreciated the transition and transformation and the leadership that you have exhibited as you built the mission and built a top-notch, consistent leadership team that continues to make great impact throughout the community. We've relied on you and your partners, your leadership team, as great partners to do our work together, and we very much appreciate your efforts to work with us on this long-term talent issue. It is really a privilege to be able to recognize you today. Okay, so how about one last round of applause for all three? Thanks very much for all you've done. So before we do closing, there's some really important housekeeping things that we need to do. I hope you enjoyed this. I like the back and forth between live and virtual, and it takes a lot of scripting, a lot of work. And so I just want to acknowledge my partners who are here, Nina Holliday, Kendra Komorowski, and Dawn Southard, Renee Lagan, Eileen McLaughlin, Leah Smith, Steve Fritsch, and anybody else who was involved in some way, shape, or form with us. You guys were great. Thank you. And then the media team, Falls Communications, Goldfarb Weber, Chartreuse, Huey's. These are our virtual communications team that do things not only just for things like this, but also they represent you through the rest of the world in various ways. They're great partners. Thank you very much. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this evening. Hope you enjoyed the time to mingle out there. We haven't done that in a while, and hearing the opportunities that we have and the vision we have for tomorrow, and the possibilities if we take advantage of it. With continued collaboration, a focus on capitalizing on the opportunities ahead, and the commitment to thinking about the region at the same time we think about our individual local assets, we can meet the moment. And working together, we can advance our region's talent, equity, innovation, resiliency, competitiveness, and prosperity. All the core attributes we think are important to economic vibrancy as we go forward. Thanks again to our sponsors. They're going to be on the screen. I hope everybody had a great night. Most importantly, thank you so much for your partnership. Have a great evening.